There's a particular kind of loneliness that doesn't come from being without people. It comes from being surrounded by them and still feeling like no one sees what you see. You sit in meetings, classrooms, family dinners, and hear people talk about goals, routines, beliefs, and something in you tightens. Not because you disagree on the surface, but because the whole structure of the conversation feels built on foundations you never agreed to, and yet you're expected to play along. From early on, you may have sensed it, the dissonance, the rituals everyone follows without questions, the stories told about what matters, what success means, what love should be like. You noticed the cracks, how certain things just didn't add up, how people sacrificed joy for approval, curiosity for discipline, honesty for harmony. And you wondered, is it just me? You tried for a while to fit in, to be normal. You muted your questions, shaped your personality to match the room, practiced being digestible. You learned when to nod, when to stay quiet, how to sound like you're listening when you're actually watching the whole performance from somewhere above your own body. You didn't rebel loudly, you observed silently. But the more you adapted, the more you disappeared. Eventually, you may have started to believe what they said, that you're too sensitive, too intense, too rebellious, too much. Not because they were right, but because they said it often and with such confidence. It didn't matter that your instincts were precise, your observations were accurate. What mattered was that you wouldn't stop questioning the script. And in a scripted world, the one who asks why becomes the problem. But here's the truth that no system wants you to find out. You were never the problem. You were the signal that something deeper was off. And you were never alone, just isolated by design. Because the world doesn't punish you for being wrong. It punishes you for seeing too clearly, for noticing the invisible architecture, for stepping outside the frame and naming what you see. Every society has its silent dissenters, people who grew up feeling like aliens in their own families, people who sensed manipulation in kindness, hierarchy in order, obedience embedded in education. People who walked through life carrying an invisible question that no one else seemed to ask. What if this entire structure is built to erase us? If you've lived with that question, you're not delusional. You're awake. And if you felt crazy, disoriented, or alone, it's not because you're broken. It's because you've been surrounded by people performing normality while suppressing the very parts of themselves that would recognize you. So no, you're not the only one. There are others watching, feeling, thinking, questioning. They've learned to mask it, to survive, to blend in. But they are out there. And some of us have stopped pretending. This isn't a call to arms or a recruitment speech. It's a simple message for those who've carried this sense of misalignment their whole lives. You're real and your perception is valid. The discomfort you feel isn't dysfunction, it's evidence of contact with reality. The ache in your chest isn't weakness, it's the cost of staying conscious in a world built on denial. You don't need to become someone else to be understood. You need to find or build places where unscripted is welcome, where clarity isn't punished, where truth doesn't need translation, where other people speak the same quiet language of, I thought I was the only one too. And when enough of us stop translating, stop adapting, stop editing ourselves into acceptability, that's when everything shifts, not through rebellion, but through recognition, through resonance.